Hello everyone, my name is Mirhat Sharibjan and welcome to Eurasian Express. Today we will talk about how the fuel crisis in Russia, caused by Ukrainian drone attacks on oil refineries across the country, is affecting neighboring countries. Namely, how is it affecting Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan's vast land border with Russia, which is more than 7,000 kilometers long, has been one of the most open frontiers in Eurasia. Every day, thousands of cars and trucks cross between the two nations. But this week, Kazakhstan deployed police posts near border crossings, inspecting almost every vehicle for hidden fuel tanks, restricting how often foreign cars can cross the border, and intensifying efforts to stop gasoline from leaving the country. The Kazakh Interior Ministry has announced the deployment of 59 police checkpoints near border crossings. Police officers are now taking part in inspections of vehicles leaving the country in an effort to prevent the illegal export of fuel. Authorities say they have discovered 255 vehicles equipped with illegally modified hidden fuel tanks since the beginning of this year. Those vehicles were spatially altered to transport far more fuel than manufacturers intended. Officials have already held 195 foreign citizens and 60 Kazakh citizens administratively responsible, while the illegal fuel tanks have been dismantled. On July 8, Kazakhstan introduced another important restriction. Foreign vehicles can now enter Kazakhstan and return across the border only once every 24 hours. The government hopes this will stop drivers from repeatedly crossing into Kazakhstan simply to buy cheap fuel and immediately transport it back across the border. Several days earlier, the Kazakh government revealed that during just 2 days, authorities prevented 61 attempts to smuggle fuel across the state border. Mobile inspection teams now patrol border regions around the clock, checking tanker trucks, private vehicles, additional fuel tanks, and fuel containers. More than 3 tons of fuel hidden inside modified tanks and canisters were intercepted during those operations alone. Since the beginning of this year, Kazakhstan says it has stopped 593 illegal attempts to export petroleum products, involving more than 40,000 liters of fuel. Government videos show vehicles equipped with sophisticated hidden tanks that were never part of the original factory design. Fuel prices in Kazakhstan remain significantly lower than in neighboring Russia. Normally, price differences encourage some cross-border trade. But today, Russia is facing something much more serious than simple and ordinary market fluctuations. Since late spring, Ukraine has dramatically expanded its long-range drone campaign against Russia's oil infrastructure. Dozens of oil refineries, fuel depots, pumping stations, storage facilities, and logistics centers have been struck across Russia. Some attacks have temporarily shut down refinery operations, while others have disrupted transportation and storage. The result has been increasing pressure on Russia's domestic fuel market. Reports from multiple Russian regions describe gasoline shortages, long lines at filling stations, even brawls, very serious brawls caused by disputes over the queues, and restrictions on fuel sales. The worst situation has been reported in Russia-annexed Crimea and some Russian-occupied territories in Ukraine. For many motorists living near the Kazakh border, driving into Kazakhstan to fill their tanks became an attractive alternative. Some drivers installed hidden fuel tanks, though, which were capable of transporting hundreds of additional liters back into Russia. That is exactly the practice Kazakhstan is now trying to eliminate. On the 1st of July, Reuters reported that Russia had allegedly reached an agreement to import fuel from Kazakhstan because of growing shortages following Ukrainian attacks on Russian energy infrastructure. One day later, Kazakhstan's energy minister, Erlan Akkenjanov, publicly stated that Moscow had not asked Astana for such fuel supplies. Whether or not formal negotiations took place, the report itself illustrates how closely international markets are watching Russia's fuel situation. Meanwhile, Kazakhstan insists that its own domestic market remains stable. According to the Ministry of Energy, Kazakh refineries continue operating normally, while reserves of gasoline, diesel, and aviation fuel remain sufficient to satisfy domestic demand. Kazakh Deputy Energy Minister Khayrkhan Tuktushbayev says fuel consumption has risen noticeably in several regions bordering Russia, including West Kazakhstan, Aktobe, and Pavlodar. Such hidden increases are difficult to explain through normal economic activity alone. Instead, they strongly suggest growing cross-border demand driven by price differences and shortages on the Russian side of the border. Astana appears determined not to allow Kazakhstan's relatively stable fuel market to become an unofficial emergency reserve for its much larger northern neighbor. Modern wars reshape supply chains, energy markets, border policies, transportation networks, and even the daily routines of ordinary citizens living hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. Ukraine's drone campaign was designed to weaken Russia's military logistics and energy infrastructure. For Kazakhstan, protecting domestic fuel supplies is not merely an economic issue. It's about preserving price stability, preventing shortages at home, and avoiding being drawn into the unintended consequences of a war taking place beyond its borders. As Ukraine continues striking Russian oil infrastructure and Russia works to stabilize its fuel market, Kazakhstan may face increasing pressure to maintain the delicate balance. The country's new border measures suggest that Astana has already concluded one thing: the war's economic consequences no longer stop at Russia's borders. They have reached Kazakhstan as well. It was Eurasian Express. Please, if you like this video, if you like this analysis, click the button and share it with your friends. Also, subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye-bye. Сау саламат болыңыздар. До новых встреч в эфире.